All right, I think we have enough to get started. And if folks are just continuing to come in, welcome to the session today. So today we're going to talk about analysis for ITSM, right? And we're really going to drill into the details and we're going to talk about the capabilities, why we've built the product, and we're also going to show you a sneak peek at what this capability can do. And then throughout this session, we're going to ask questions and feedback because at the end of the day, we are here to build product that works for you. And this is our forum and opportunity to really get feedback on the things that we are working on. So please, please, please add some feedback and let us know what you think about the session. All right, so before we get started, I want to start off with some housekeeping. We've saved some time at the end for Q&A, so please use that button and ask us questions. We will get back to you as soon as we can. And if we can't, we'll try and follow up with you offline. This session will also be recorded on our community, so if you have colleagues that you want to share it with, it will be available there. And at the end of this event, we are going to ask you for some feedback via a short survey. So please, we take this seriously. In fact, we're going to talk about some of the feedback we've heard from the last session and how we're planning to address it in this session. So what you guys tell us really does make a difference in how we present and the content that we share with you. So we're really just trying to make sure that we make these sessions as valuable as we possibly can for you. All right, so for today's agenda, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about some of the feedback we heard in the last session, and then we're going to go into an overview of analysis for ITSM. Then we'll jump into a demo, and we'll conclude the session with some Q&A. All right, so here's what we've heard, right? Again, we value feedback. What we've heard was we want more technical information. And, we really need to walk that line. So we're going to see a few slides that talk about the capabilities in greater detail. But we want to tiptoe into this, right? And if you want more after this, let us know in the feedback and we'll add more in the next session. And then secondly, I would like to be more demo focused, right? Less focus on an overview and more focus on the demo. We have that in store for you. So you're going to see us jump right into the content, into the demo. And at that point, hopefully we have addressed that feedback. A lot of people asked for a roadmap session. So again, we're going to ask you if you want to attend a private roadmap session. So when we ask that question in our poll, please do respond. And you know what? Err on the side of optimism, right? If you don't have the time, you can always change your mind later. But we need to know if you're interested now so that we can make sure that we accommodate you when the time comes. And then finally, knowledge article creation. This is going to be something that we can't share right now. It's planned for a future release, but in our roadmap session, we'll make sure to include that demo there. And then the last is going to be PDF handouts. And we have done a lot of community article creation. And in fact, I'm going to actually talk about that right now. So I'm not going to go through all the resources that we've created for you in anticipation of this session. Instead, I'm just going to link them here and you can click on them or explore them and read them in your leisure. But we have written about 6 articles so far. And you know what? This is our start. We're going to make these better. We're going to make them as engaging as possible, accompany them with videos and so forth so that really you get the information you need. And again, when you're there, add comments, because we read those comments and we want to make sure that the content is there and it meets your needs. So please take the time when you have it to read through our content and let us know what you think. All right, so Safe Harbor, we'll be sharing some content here that might be forward-looking, but for the most part, honestly, everything that we're going to share with you is GA today, so you can take this at face value. All right, so let's start off and talk about why we're doing this, right? We've heard from you in the past, and we've asked you questions on our Live on ServiceNow webinar, and what we've heard is, look, it's not just efficiency and user experience. It's actually efficiency and productivity. These are things that we are trying to help our customers achieve while maintaining that exceptional user experience. This is mission critical, right? And it makes sense when you look at the problems that we're all facing, and that is the self-service that we have is not always there. Right? There are gaps in our knowledge base. We don't always have the best catalog items, or maybe we don't have all of them in place, right? And you know what? If we get connected with a knowledge article or catalog item, sometimes it's just not engaging enough. It doesn't quite meet the bar for our most fickle of end users, right? If I see a KB article, I can read it, but honestly, if you give me an answer from that KB article, wow, that meets my needs. So we have limited self-service, and it's not that engaging. That reduces its effectiveness. Next, there's collating information, right? We know as an agent, the information is going to be in different places. It's going to be in our work notes. It's going to be in a transcript. It's going to be in the description, the short description. That makes it very difficult to understand what is happening with this incident, right? And sometimes we just skip steps. We say, hey, you know what? Let me just reach out to this requester, or let me, in an attempt to save time, I'm not going to read as much. And that actually makes triaging more difficult because we're more prone to making mistakes or asking repeat questions. So again, this is a challenge. Then we have undocumented steps and solutions, right? When it comes to those handoffs, sometimes we do just enough to hand it off to the next person, but we're not really telling them what we've done. We've just told them that we can't solve it. And when we solve these incidents, we don't always write down the solution that really resolved the incident. Sometimes we just write done or resolved. And you know what? That makes it difficult for other people to benefit from the great work that we've done. So these are real challenges that we've heard. And when we look at it through a process flow, it becomes very apparent. Starting with that requester, the self-service content doesn't always exist. I might start my journey off with in the portal or the virtual agent. And if the content doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, right? And at that point, I need to be handed off to an L1 agent. And when I do, you know what? That L1 agent is not always going to be looking at the transcript to get up to speed, right? They might ask repeat questions because reading the transcript is hard, right? You've got to scroll up, and especially if it's a long-running conversation between an employee and a virtual agent or another agent, I don't have that presence of mind to read through the transcript in detail. And you know what? If the solution or the content didn't exist for the employee, chances are it doesn't exist for that L1 agent. So they might be using Agent Assist or searching the knowledge base for agent-facing knowledge, but they may not find it there. And when they don't, they usually have to transfer it off to the L2 agent. This is where things get expensive, right? And when they transfer it, they're not always documenting what they've attempted so far. So that L2 agent doesn't know what the employees attempted. It doesn't know what the L1 agent has attempted. Instead, they're forced to think about this afresh, right? And they're busy and they're trying to get on with their day. So when they resolve the incident, you know, documenting the solution is not always top of mind. So they might leave a note like resolved or done. Not going to be helpful for everybody, especially not making the incident smarter. And that's why we've introduced Now Assist for ITSM. With Now Assist for ITSM, we increase self-service, right? We make that content more engaging. We reduce MTTR. We make it easier for agents to get up to speed and resolve incidents faster. The quality of service has gone up tremendously as well because we're not asking repeat questions to that end user. And we're getting up to speed and we're ensuring that the collaboration across agents is as good as possible. And the experience for everyone just got so much better. The content is more engaging, right? I'm generating answers or making catalog items more conversational. And when I'm interacting with an incident or I'm getting that live agent handoff, it's so pleasant to get a summary of the transcript or the incident. And when it comes to generating resolution notes, oh my God, that's so much better than having to write them from scratch. And finally, if you're a platform owner, we really lower the total cost of ownership. We can get up and running with all of this capability in about 15 minutes. Most of the time is going to be spent waiting for the system to load the plugins and install the configurations. None of it is really on the effort of finding documentation and so forth. We really thought about how to make this easy to turn on so you can get value out of it immediately. So let's talk about how this system got smarter with Now Assist for ITSM. So again, starting with that requester, again, if on day one, we can't solve all the problems with our content. And our employees aren't going to be able to find those knowledge articles or those catalog items if they don't exist, right? So it can't happen, right? But in those instances, where that requester needs to get connected with an L1 agent, we make that handoff efficient and effective. The L1 agent doesn't have to scroll through the transcript. Instead, they get to see a summary of everything that has been attempted so far by the virtual agent or another agent, which is great. And when they do the handoff, we're helping ensure that they are documenting the actions that they have taken so far. So we're mining through the work notes and the transcripts to ensure that those handoffs become as efficient and effective as possible. And when the solution is there, when they resolve the incident, we make sure that it is documented and better than done or resolved, ensuring the system is smarter. What this does is it makes it much more easier for the content to be provided back to that L1 agent. That is, we can shift left. So if you're an L1 agent, now that article or those helpful work notes or resolution notes become available to you in the system, right? So if you're using Agent Assist, you can find an article that was generated, or you can look at an incident with its resolution notes. But what's better than that, if you're a requester, you get access to that article right away. And when you're engaging with Now Assist, you get generated answers. So you don't have to read through the entire article. You just get the portion of information that is helpful to you. So to tell you a little bit more about this, right? Now Assist for ITSM is really for the business, right? Starting with those requesters. They like self-service. They want to self-serve. And when the content increases in quantity, I'm just reading through the notes, the chat here. It says, Stan, you said that the presenter has gone quiet. Can everybody else hear me? Can I get some, Jeff, is everything okay?
I'm hearing you just the same, actually, Asif.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. So to resume and hopefully, hopefully, Dan, you can watch the recording. And if you hear this, we stop for you. Analysis for ITSM is for the requesters, right? Starting with the requesters, we want to make sure that more content is available in the system. And when it's there, we want to make it more engaging. For agents, we want to help them process information faster and document that pertinent information so that content in the system gets smarter as a result. And for platform owners, we want to make sure that this is not something that they really have to think too hard about. Turn it on, get it into production, immediately get an ROI, right? Help getting some system information out of the system and make it smarter so that your agents and requesters can get value out of this. And you don't have to spend a lot of time maintaining this solution. So a lower total cost of ownership and a faster time to value equals a higher ROI. All right, so let's talk about the capabilities. And this is what I said when we're addressing that feedback of trying to get more technical. So analysis capabilities at its core do three things. One is it helps you understand the context and the intent. This is the prompt that we talk about, right? So when we ask questions like, how can I get access to a VPN? We can understand that as a request, and the specific entity here is going to be the VPN, right? This really helps frame the model so that it understands what exactly is the problem and who it's for and why it matters. Then we synthesize information. So this is ensuring that we can search across multiple sources and synthesize a summary, right? So if you have a long-running information or long-running incident, we can take all that information and really condense it into the things that matter most. That means going past all of the noise, as we call it, making sure that only the important information is coming through to the agent when we do a summary. And when we talk about generating content, we are looking through all of the information that is out there and helping generate a meaningful response in return, right? This ensures that the virtual agent can respond to questions quickly. So taking information from the knowledge article and generating an answer from it. This is generating an answer from the content that exists, right? The benefit here is that we reduce the likelihood of a hallucination because we are grounding the model and our solution in your knowledge base. And we want to talk a little bit about our generative AI approach, right? So we have general purpose models like OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google Cloud, and things that are coming out in the future. This is not going to stop, right? And we have asked you in the past, are you using any of these models? And it's great to hear that you are, right? We understand that we all need to be up to date on this technology. Now, what's great about those models is that they're general purpose. You can use them, and they're a great starting point for understanding the technology and building your own use cases for your business. We on ServiceNow are taking an addition to that approach. We're adding domain-specific models, right? And the benefit for that is that we have such a passion and interest in ensuring the quality of the solution and the predictions that are out for our solution that we are developing our own models, right? And we have the expertise to do this because in the past we have been developing solutions like NLU, predictive intelligence, task intelligence. To us, this is just another evolution in the step of artificial intelligence. So we're building our large language models so that we can be more in control of the quality of the solution. And that is really top of mind for us, right? We want to make sure that you get the best experience out of the system and that the system is responding in the domain that we understand best. We are the leaders in ITSM. So when we combine that with our technical prowess in this space, we can ensure that you get high quality and really awesome experiences from the system. All right, so let's talk about our vision for all of this. And then with this, I think I'm going to just jump into the demo because I want to address that feedback of getting more demo, less content. Our vision is not to stop with the solutions that I'm about to demo to you. We have a vision of ensuring that every single application and workflow will be touched by this technology. Now Assist for ITSM is going to be something that becomes our vision for all of our solutions. Everything needs to get better because of this technology, and it will, because this technology is really awesome, and we are ensuring that it is woven seamlessly into every single one of these workflows and applications, right? That means that it's just going to become easier to work with, and the experiences are fundamentally going to shift. They're going to be more LLM powered and easier to interact with and more powerful and better to use, right? And that's going to yield more resolutions for you as well as a lower MTTR. All right, enough talk. Let's get into the demo and I'll show you how this capability works, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is just to get us all started on this is I want to show you how our retrieval augmented generation capability works. That is short. The acronym there is going to be RAG, and you're going to hear this from other vendors and in the industry at large. And what I'm going to do is just to show you how this capability works is I'm going to start with a simple use case called what is spam. Now, the idea here is that in the past, I would have looked at this, I would have searched for this query, and I probably would have clicked on this article here, and I would have read it, and eventually I would have gotten my answer, right? But you know what's better than that is if I search for that same query and the system leverages that knowledge article and generates an answer from it. So in short, what it's doing is it's retrieving all the articles that are similar in meaning to my search query. And when it finds an article that is very similar in meaning to my search query, it is going to search that article for pertinent information, and it's going to generate an answer for us. Okay, that's retrieval augmented generation, right? RAG. Now that's the architecture that we are using for our Now Assist for ITSM, specifically our search capabilities here. And the benefit is very apparent, right? I don't have to search. I don't have to read through an article to look for the information that may answer my question. Instead, what it's doing is it's telling me the answer to my question, right? Very directly. Now, this is a pretty simple use case, but it gets better when we look for things like how to connect to VPN on my iPhone. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like here. When I search for this search query, it is going to find an article, how to configure VPN for Apple devices. So it retrieved articles that were similar. And then what it's doing is it's generating an answer from that article to help me self-serve faster. Okay. Again, the article title is how to configure VPN for Apple devices. However, the answer is how to connect to VPN on iPhone. And here are the steps. So it's really saving me that step of clicking and finding the relevant passage. And it's just giving me the answer so that I can self-serve immediately. Jeff, let me pause here. Any questions so far?
Hey, Asif. Yeah, there was one that came into the chat. Says this is great, but is generalized AI fair applied to Snow serviced data domains? Whose underlying inference technology are you using?
So we'll likely want to do that. Like when we launch the poll for a roadmap follow-up, please say yes to that, and we'll get into the details there. We can talk about that all day, and I don't want to sell that topic short with a quick answer on this webinar at this point. But thank you for that question, and we will be sure to follow up with that. Again, the feedback always does get addressed. If we don't get in this session, we'll get in the next.
Okay, one other question. Who owns and where is the synthesized data stored?
The synthesized information, it is generated on the fly. So we're not necessarily storing this information anywhere. What we're doing is we're taking your information that came from the knowledge article and generating an answer on the fly for the requester. So this will change. If you change your article, this will change as well. And that's the beauty of this system. It doesn't have to retrain the model at all. It is simply using our retrieval augmented generation technology. It's really powerful, but it is elegant in the sense that you don't have to retrain or do anything on your side. You just turn it on and it continues to work.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.
Right, that's it for now.
Okay, great. All right, so the next thing I want to do is show you how our virtual agent takes advantage of this new capability. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. And what I want to show you is how we can show how catalog items become conversational in the virtual agent. So in the virtual agent, I'm going to ask it a question. I'm going to say, I'm in the product division and I need access to Dynamics. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show you how we took this catalog item and we made it more engaging for the requester. So again, I get connected with that same catalog item. You know, the search query is different from over here because it's more conversational. And when I click Get Started, the first thing I want to draw your eyes to is the fact that it doesn't ask me for what division I'm a part of. And that's because I've already made that information available to the virtual agent. I've told it I'm in the product division. So it skipped right past that question. Next, it's going to say, what region do I belong to? Again, there is nothing here on this catalog item that says, what region do you belong to? Instead, it's just a region parameter. Okay, and what I can do is I can type in NA for North America. And for the sake of this demo, it's going to ask me the purpose of this, and I'm going to say for a webinar, and we're off to the races here, right? I just conversationally engaged with a catalog item. I can submit it, and I can say no to adding attachments, and I'm done. Now I'm going to pause here and just state that I did not create a topic here. This is not a virtual agent topic. Instead, what it is, it's a catalog item that was made conversational for the virtual agent. This is an asset that is available to the virtual agent, just like it is available to our real life agents. And what it can do is it can reference that catalog item and talk to the requester like they're taking an order from them, right? So that's the beauty of the virtual agent with Now powered by Now Assist, is that you can get up and running with this capability in 15 minutes because it can consume your catalog items and make them conversational for you. So real powerful stuff. And I just want to make that clear because I know in the past we've had virtual agent powered by NLU, and we might have thought that that needed to be created with a topic, but with Now Assist, you don't have to do that. Instead, you can turn it on with just a click of the button, and it's going to make your catalog items conversational. Jeff, I'm going to pause here because I want to make that clear for the audience. Are there any questions about this topic, about making catalog items and KB articles conversational?
See here, I'm looking in the Q&A. One question around catalog items is we've often found limitations to submitting catalog items via virtual agent in a conversational manner because we use many client scripts and UI policies that contain scripting. Is that still a limitation?
Yeah, so that is a very good question. And I'm glad whoever asked that asked it because yeah, I also want to be transparent. Not everything is going to be conversational on day one. There are simply way too many scripts that go on with some of these catalog items that make it very difficult for them to render as conversational. So the fallback experience is that they become a pop-up experience, meaning that instead of conversationally interacting with them, I get connected and I pop into this catalog item on the portal page. So that's something that is just going to happen. Now, I will say that our leadership has made this a mandate for our product team, the various product teams that are all working on this together. And what they have told us is we need to make sure that that does not happen as frequently as it should, right? If there are patterns that we detect in the system, we are addressing that actively in our roadmap. And again, when we give you that option to sign up for a roadmap, please hit yes, because we will like to share our plans there, and then also get a sense for your catalog items, right? If you want to help us understand how to make this more conversational for you, that is something that we are really actively looking into. Okay. All right. Anything else, Jeff, or can I move on?
Around catalog conversations, I'm not seeing anything else at the moment.
Okay. And if there are any good questions or any questions that you think would be relevant or well, yeah, please feel free to pause me and we can address them.
Okay.
All right. So the next thing I want to do is talk about how we show chat summarization. Okay. Now, to do that, I need to make sure that my agent is available to pick up a live agent chat request. And what I want to do is I want to start off by seeding the conversation with some content that can be summarized. So I'm going to ask the virtual agent for help on how to install the data analysis pack in Excel. And what it's going to do is it's going to try and connect me with some KB articles. Again, these aren't generated answers because as you can tell, these aren't strong enough matches in meaning to my search query. It's close. Big data analysis or Excel functionality, it's very close, but it's not exactly the answer. So it's not going to generate an answer for me. So it's very good at understanding what questions it should not try to answer directly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that wasn't what I was looking for, and can you please connect me with a live agent? And when I do that, it is going to prompt me as David for that ability to summarize and get involved here. Okay, it's not happening for David. Oh, okay, maybe it's happening for Abel. Here we go. All right, so Abel is going to see this and he's going to accept this chat request. I'm going to rearrange my browser so it's easier to work. And what I can see is a quick summary of what Eliza has attempted to do with the virtual agent. Okay, we see that they're looking for information about the data analysis pack in Excel. We provided information, but that wasn't what they were looking for. And now it's time for Abel to get involved. Okay, so what Abel can do at this point is he can reply back with some information like, what have you tried so far? Right, and when he does that, Eliza can reply back in kind and say things like, you know what? I'm having issues installing the data analysis pack in Excel. Uh, I really have this important meeting that I need to prep for, and I need to perform some statistical analysis. Okay, so enough information for able to understand that that this is important. Okay, now Able is going to look for things like, hey, do I have any information here? Right, so he might look for things like data analysis pack in Excel, and nothing shows up, right? And that's okay, right? We get the same articles that she had seen, and that's great. However, it doesn't help Able in this situation. So what he can do is he can create an incident at this point, and Now Assist for ITSM is going to help him generate a summary, a short description, a description, so that when he hands off to the tier two agent, that um, all of that information is documented already. He doesn't have to say anything, or it makes his life easier, and it also makes that other agent's life easier as well. So at this point, what he's going to do is he is going to hand it off and assign this incident to David. So let me go ahead and do that. And upon that transfer, he's going to say, can you help Eliza with this incident? It's an urgent request. Okay. So at this point, what Able has done is he has saved a lot of time not asking repeat questions like, hey, have you tried this Excel functionality or big data analysis catalog? And what he's done is he's understand that he can't help in this situation because he's not trained on this matter, and the content available to him is not sufficient enough for him to answer the question. So he has deferred to an expert, an L2 in this case. And what Able can do now is he can find the incident that is assigned to him, and he can pick up exactly where Able left off. All right. So to do that, what he's going to do is he is going to take a look at the short description, the description, everything helps him understand that he needs to get involved in a different way. And that means contacting Eliza directly. So he's going to start a sidebar discussion with Eliza. All right. And now what Eliza can do is see that response. Let's see. Just a second. It seems like there's an issue with my Teams integration at this point. I think my developer was telling me earlier this morning that that was a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a different approach to this, and I am going to add that as a comment in the work note. And what Eliza can do at this point is she can look at the incident that was just created on her behalf, and she can reply back at this point. Okay. So she's gonna say that the instructions worked. And what David could do now is he can move on to the next step of this incident, which is to resolve it and to generate resolution notes. So let's do that. So when I click on the resolve button, what it's going to do is it's generating resolution notes based off of the work notes that are in the system. So it says that they were provided with instructions to update 365, run as a local administrator, navigate to Excel, and reinstall the data analysis pack, which were the instructions that we see right here, if you can see behind this, right? And that's awesome, because what David's status quo here is likely, as I mentioned earlier, to write things like done or resolved, because he doesn't know that this is really going to be beneficial for folks in the end, right? So when he hits resolve, what he has done effectively is made the system that much smarter. Let me pause here for a second. Does anybody have any questions? Jeff, any questions that came in?
Asif, there is a question on the accuracy of the automated statements. You could talk a little bit about that.
The accuracy of the automated statements. And can we get some clarification on what the automated statements were? There were a few things that I showed here. There's the generation of the resolution notes. Then there is the summary, the chat summary that occurred over here. And then there were some of the generated answers in our AI search experience.
The chat summary specifically.
Chat summarization. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something that, I mean, it's pretty accurate. If you were to ask us how are we quantifying this, we would need to have a follow-up conversation on that one. And we're more than happy to share how we're approaching this. So please let us know that that's something that you're interested in, and we can make sure that we set up those calls. But in terms of the accuracy, it is, we know if we just look at this example, and I know it's not the best, I'm just going to be transparent. Like it is enough for us to demo on a session like this with everybody on a call. But what we really need to do is if you're curious, let's get hands-on together, get a long running chat summary transcript, and it'll show you how accurate this thing can be, right? This is great for a demo because we only have so much time together. So we know that, like, look, two bullet points, data analysis pack in Excel. That's what they were asking for. Yep, that's correct. We also know that they were provided with information. Yep, that's correct. We know that that was not helpful. We know that that's correct. So in terms of accuracy here, I think it checks the boxes. I'm not going to say that that's the North Star or the golden standard for how we judge accuracy, because as a team, we look at long running and like transcripts, really complex ones, where it's going to take you, you might not even consider looking at the transcript that just went so long, right? That's not where the value is created with this capability. The value is created when the transcript is so long that your instinct as a live agent is to actually ask repeat questions, because it's just way too complex and too much time is going to go on for you to actually solve this question, right? Again, we have to remember that the trade-off here is when your requester has to wait for a response because you are taking the time to do your due diligence and read through the transcript. That's the trade-off, right? So the amount of time, even if you were to spend an enormous amount of time doing that, you're not going to get a lot of value because your requester might just leave at that point, and that's the worst case scenario. So hopefully that answers your question. Brian, any other questions?
Sorry, Asip, there I was looking at a beach ball for a minute, sorry, on my system. There's a ton of questions coming through. Let me see what we have here that's currently open. Technical question, I'm just picking one. Have we seen any performance issues, specifically with time to load in larger instances once Now Assist is enabled?
No, no performance issues. Once this is turned on, this thing just works, right? We're very conscious about the speed and its ability to help, especially live agents. You can't be waiting around for like a beach ball, like you said, for this thing to generate a summary. We need this thing to be instant and readily available. In fact, we're working with a large company right now that has a lot of live agent transfers. And when that happens, they need to be able to get up to speed fast and respond fast. So this thing needs to work as soon as it possibly can.
Okay, great. Thanks. Another question, I mean, don't want to hold up the demo here. There's other questions. We're not to the Q&A portion just yet, right? So I think we can hold.
I think so. What I can do is I will jump straight to our, the one thing that I want to, I think we can actually. But before we do that, maybe what I'll do is just make that invitation available right now, right? So again, I think we have had this in the past and it was really successful and was really beneficial for our customers and for us. We got a lot of insight and feedback with um, on our roadmap, and we got feedback on product that we're actively developing. So I wanted to make sure that this was something that was available again, because we think that this is really helpful for us. And when it's helpful for us, it's helping us ensure that we're building product that you guys want to use at the end of the day. So if we can launch that poll, Jeff, that would be great. And we can get some feedback on whether you'd be interested in a follow-up conversation.
All right, the poll's going, and folks, if you just respond yes, we will capture your response and have your email address, so we'll be able to follow up with you. Thanks,
Thank you
Brian.
so much. And thanks, Brian and Jeff. I know we just jumped right into it, but thank you guys both. This is a great team effort.
Yep. Yep. Cool. All right.
All
Thanks,
right. Have a
everybody.
great day, everyone. Thank you.